Yo, what up out there? What's going on? What's going on? Once again, once again, it's the boy So Busy. Stay Busy Apparel in the building. So let me get right to it. Let me get right to it. So, all the time, I know if you're around my age or younger, the question of who's the greatest rappers and who's the top five rappers come up all the time. And what's so fun about it and what's so good about it is definitely debatable. And there is no for sure answer. You understand what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm qualified to have a good insight into this because being the age I am, I remember when rap first really started, I was around listening when rap first really started. I was listening to Count Cool Out and Super Rhymes and the Treacherous Three and the Furious Five and Spoonie G and what was the girl sequence and finesse and sequence and I remember when those rappers was around and back then Dr. Shake was around. Dr. Shake from East Palo Alto was rapping. I remember that. I used to ride the 22 with him on the way to the school bus, and he'd rap all the way from Stanford to Mountain View High. Believe that. I remember that. But back then what was the dude name? Not Super Rhymes, when it was Super Rhymes, when it was Blowfly, back when Blowfly was rapping. So this was early 80s. We gotta remember Rappers Delight was like 79. I was on the school bus. I used to ride the school bus to Carmont, and I'd be sitting there in the bus, and James Ware from the Ville had a big radio, and James Ware knew all the words. And I remember I used to be watching like, damn, he know all the words. So I got to know all the words because he looked fly spitting all the words. Nevertheless, coming up through all of that, the Run DMC era, the Public Enemy era, the NWA era, the Too Short era, coming up through all of them eras, being involved in the music, being around musical artists, I think I'm kind of, my opinion might count a little bit in this, to somebody that don't know. So let me say this. If you want to ask who's the greatest rapper, first of all, you have to categorize what do you mean who's the greatest rapper? Is it who lyrically had the best to his rhymes? Was it who had the best career? Was it who made the most impact? Who made the biggest records? Or is it a combination of all of those things? Right? So most people know where, no matter where you at, East Coast, West Coast, down south, they always say, Biggie, Tupac, Nas, Jay-Z, and then they might sprinkle in a new dude here or there somewhere around, and that's cool. And that's cool. And some of those dudes probably qualify in being in those categories. But if you asking me, first of all, if we're gonna say signed artists, and what I mean by signed artists is guys that have record contracts that you heard their records on the videos and on the radios, because I personally know some underground rappers that nobody really never heard of that I listen to and that I like more than mostly all of those dudes. I like Chunk more than I like mostly all of those dudes. I like my guy Josie Wells more than I like mostly all of those dudes. So I'm gonna keep that out of it because I got personal relationships with some of these people. So I may seem biased, but I don't be seeing bias because if I just listen to his records and I listen to his records, but now the world don't know him. So we'll leave that out. We'll go to the guys that everybody know, right? Okay, cool. So my personal belief and my personal choice of the best of all time is Brad Jordan. I'm gonna go Scarface because let me say why. Because from the first time I heard Scarface to the last time I heard Scarface, it sounded like Scarface. lyrically, sonically. Not saying it was still stuck in a time of that. No, that's not it. His up-to-date music still lets you know that Scarface. A lot of these artists these days, the older artists, and I'm not knocking. This is no disrespect or no knock or nothing. I'm just telling you about how I feel. So some of these big name artists, they gotta, to make commercial records or whatever, they have to go with the hot producer of that time. So they get brought into a sound. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, Nas is one of the best lyrical guys of all time. But to me, he don't rap over the best beats all the time. To me, a lot of his beats be suspect. But when Nasir rap over a beat that's hard, it's over. Can't nobody do that. But like this last album, King's Disease, lyrically, he doing what Nas do. But I can't ride and listen to that because musically, I don't like the music. That ain't saying Nas ain't still that dude. Okay. I'm saying Brad Jordan because of that reason. And because from the first album, Mr. Scarface, all the way to the last album, I can put it on and I can pretty much just ride and listen to it. And that's when I enjoy music, ride. So I'm not really the club dude. I used to club a little bit when I was younger, but I never really just been the club dance on the dance floor dude. So the club rappers, your Bad Boys and all of that, your Mason, all of that, I respected that thing, but they didn't really appeal to me because I'm not going to really ride and listen to bad boy. You make me look good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to ride and listen to that. Now, when I'm out somewhere, that said, if I do happen to stop by the club and, that got the women jumping, so it's like, okay, it's in the mood. But most of the time when I listen to hip hop or when I listen to rap, I'm in my car. Most of the time, I'm in my car. I'm on a 4-hour ride trip. I'm on a 2-hour ride trip. I don't want to have to keep changing the CD or I just want to put that thing in and just let that go. And for Brad, with me, that's what Brad Jordan gonna do for me. But I always wonder why he never get mentioned in the top 5. Why Ice Cube never get mentioned in the top 5? What Ice Cube didn't do that some of them other dudes that he made an impact. Lyrically, he was a beast. He got hits. Now, maybe his rap career, because he got into something else, didn't go. He don't have as many solo albums. But you telling me America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, are you telling me them not two of the best hip-hop albums from start to finish? The intro, the interludes, the songs, the outro. You not telling me that you can listen to America's Most Wanted and you can't vividly see all of that. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, these is two rappers that is highly underrated in this debate. Let's go with Biggie. I like Biggie. I like Biggie a lot. I thought Biggie's, I'm not really a Ready to Die fan like everybody else because some of those songs on there was just too New Yorkish for me. It was too New York for me at the time. You know what I'm saying? Not that I was because I was one of the guys on the West Coast I remember being over in the Ville and we was doing what we was doing and I was listening to Nas. I was listening to Brand Nubian and some of the dudes over me and Daddy Coffee and some of the other dudes, the homies. Man, get that out of here. Get that out of here. Because at the time, the West Coast was flaming. NWA, Spice One, Cube, Mad Circle, Dub C and them, King T, you know what I'm saying? 40 and them, the whole West Coast was banging, and I liked that too. So I've never been just totally biased. My ears always been open. So back to Biggie. Biggie was hard. Like some of Biggie's rhymes, like when I hear them, they give you chills. You know what I mean? But I don't got Biggie where everybody else got Biggie as one or two. I don't. Biggie one of the hardest to do it? That's for sure. Let's go with Jay. Let's see about Jay. Let me say this about Jay. I think if you have to ask who had the best hip hop career, I would have to say Jay. Jay kind of checked all the boxes lyrically. Jay got it. Musically, Jay rapped over a lot of nice beats first coming out. Jay-Z got hits. Jay was a movement at the time. I mean, look what he done flipped it to now. So if I had to say who had the most pristine career, I might have to say Jay. Okay, Pac. Of course, you gotta like Pac. Even if you don't really like Pac, at some point you had to feel him. I think he probably still got 2 or 3 new albums they ain't put out yet, as far as Workaholic go. You understand what I'm saying? I got Pac up there. I don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm a Gemini. So today I might, tomorrow I might, and I go back and forth with these things. Scarface stay consistent. I can listen to Brad Jordan every day. Okay, so that's why Brad, to me, it's just something about some of the stuff that he say to me. Okay, Pac, yeah, I would put Pac up there. I don't know if he in the top 5. In my top 5, far as signed artists that everybody heard of and know about, he would probably be in my top 10 for sure. He'd be in my top 10 for sure. 40 Water. If 40 was from the East Coast, everybody would be saying he was in the top 5. 40 was so different. 40's first early career, 40 had back-to-back bumbles from the Sick With It album to his first solo EP to the stuff he was busting on Be Legit to the Click to In a Major Way, which was, to me, that's his best body of work to me, In a Major Way. On to, he switched it over. He got with the movement. He he did something. He rapped with everybody. Lil Jon, Fab, T-Pain, Cube, 40 got cuts with everybody. He's that's big and 40's still busting right now. 40's had a nice long career and has had to put together a nice body of work. I probably got to put 40 up in the top 10 somewhere. The first rapper that I thought that I said was my favorite was probably LL, because LL was hard. LL lyrically was a beast, plus L had the girls. And then that era came. Here come Big Daddy Kane. Here come Rakim. Here come KRS-One. Like, that's the golden era. 88 to 92, 93 was the golden era. And what the golden era mean to me was it was based on creativity. Rakim didn't sound like KRS-One. KRS-One didn't sound like LL. LL didn't sound like Kumo D. None of these guys sound the same. They all had their own distinct thing. They was all competitive. They all was lyrical. So at that time, you had the EPMD. At that time, you had NWA. You had Too Short. My bad, Todd. My bad, Todd. Todd got to go up in there. Todd underrated. Too Short underrated. I can remember being in front of QB's pool hall, beating that Too Short back then. You know what I mean? Back then, all the way till Short still get on a dude's song and do Too Short. He ain't never tried to switch over and be like this style. Nah, he stayed Too Short. And that's what I be liking about it. It ain't that I don't like change, but don't go from you a gun toter in this era. Now when they dancing, you dancing in this era. Like that just don't look right. If you dance, if you hammer now, be hammered in. If you hammered, then be hammered now. Too Short been one thing and one thing for the most part. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Off the dribble. Whether it's, I've been to Too Short concerts and the females are singing that louder than the dudes. So don't come in like that's disrespectful. It probably is. But I'm just saying that at that time, that's what dude was doing, and that's what we was rocking to. You know what I'm saying? So Todd got to go up there. Now, Todd might not be the most lyrically pull out the pen in a cipher, but nah, he gonna give you that. You know what I'm saying? He gonna give you that what you looking for when you feeling real, you feeling real pimpish, you know what I'm saying? You chopping up with the bro, you trying to tell me you ain't listening to Born to Mac? Cut it out. I used to ride, me and Mid Junkyard used to ride cross country, beating that Born to Mac with the 50s on top and the 20s on bottom. Cut it out. You know what I'm saying? Going to get it. So who else can we put in there as far as them upper echelon dudes? You know what I'm saying? Because then after the golden era came because for one, salute to Run DMC, because that Run DMC took it from the parks to the houses, to all around the world. Run DMC, Run DMC and Jam Master Jay and Russell Simmons is kind of like the seed to all of this, to the explosion. Like even though Rapper's Delight came out and it was a big old hit, like they seemed it kind of bubblegumish. You understand what I'm saying? It didn't seem like they was no hardcore spitters. Okay. And they was, if you looked at they looked like, it was a nice song, and it introduced the world to rap, and it kind of like, what's that? Oh, that's rap, because there was rap records before that. You know what I'm saying? It was rapper on a Brick or the Bar K song. King Tut had a song. On the Fatback Band. Fatback Band had a song using rhyme in like 78. 78, 75, 77, something like that, and then by the time Rapper's Delight had hit, it kind of went to the world. And then that's when you came with The Message and Grandmaster Flash, and you had Super Rhymes. I remember Super Rhymes would have the rhymes where he talk about he woke up at 6 a.m. and he tell you got dressed, took a shower, got dressed, got in his car, caught the train, messed with this girl, got to school. Did he tell you about the whole day? Because that's what dudes, everybody was storytelling back then. And then Curtis Blow was rap's first superstar. Curtis Blow, These Are the Breaks, the Christmas rap song, and then These Are the Breaks, and then 8 Million Stories and all that. Curtis Blow was rap's first superstar. Go back and do the research. He was the first one. And then because Curtis Blow was before Run in there. Remember, Run was Curtis Blow's DJ. He was the son of Curtis Blow. So Curtis Blow was the first rap superstar. And then Run and them made it like they the first ones that had an endorsement deal. They had an Adidas deal. They the first one on Rolling Stones magazine. They the first one doing this. They the first one. They broke the ground. They broke ground everywhere. And it was their whole swag. Joseph Simmons, aka Run, was the definition of swag. He was the definition of swag. So when we went to those Fresh Fest concerts, and we went to those Swatch Watch concerts at the Oakland Coliseum, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ron Matthews. Me and Ron used to go to all the concerts back then. When we went to those concerts, you went to see Run. Yeah, the Fat Boys did their thing. Yeah, LL did his thing. Houdini. Shout out to Houdini, because Houdini was the party at the concert. Houdini was the party. You know what I'm saying? Houdini was the party. They had the hits that made you think, you know what I'm saying? And they party, So at them concerts back then, but at the end, to close it out, whose house was this? It was Run's house. So from that era, we transitioned to, the BDP, Rakim. I mean, when Paid in Full hit, every dude that was out there doing what he was doing was riding around listening to Rakim, period, point blank. It just ain't. I'm gonna tell you, 86, St. Patrick's Day in 1986, me, Ron Matthews, and V was in New York. We hit the Wiz Records. So I'm gonna buy some records to bring back home. This is 86. So I remember that's back when we used to listen to MC Shan. People don't remember Shan and LL was kind of like in competition. Who was better, Shan or LL? L just, Shan, by his admission, got off the drugs, started doing other things, and didn't take his career as serious. And then kind of like BDP, touched him a little bit in a little battle. But Shan was, we at the Wiz, and I'm trying to find some Mr. Magic's Rapper Tap albums and all this. So I see this one album. Who is this? Oh, that's them kids from the Bronx. That's BDP, KRS-One, and Scott LaRock was on the album cover. So I grabbed everything that had BDP there. And then I look at this album right here. I pull up this album, and he said it best. Def Jam Tells You Who I Am. I was like, who is these dudes all standing out here on these 98s? Oh, that's the new Def Jam crew. That's a Public Enemy. I just bought it. I was just buying it. EPMD. I brought all that stuff to the hood. And you can ask the dudes that was around that know that I wasn't nobody listening to Public Enemy. Ask Kenny Upchurch. Ask Dennis and ask KD and them. Ask Shitty and them, who was running around listening to Public Enemy before anybody knew about it. Half of that stuff on their first album on Bum Rush the Show, just musically, it was so hard. I didn't even really know what they was talking about. I didn't really know what Public Enemy was really talking about because we were so blind back then to the fact. I didn't really understand what he was talking about to their second album. Then I started being like, oh, okay, this way. And then I started appreciating Yo Bum Rush the Show a whole lot more. So that was the gold in there when it came to EPMD. And then Scarface was in. Ghetto Boys was involved with that. Lil J and them got involved with that. Luke and then was involved with that. Too Short and then was NWA. Of course, when NWA hit, first of all, I remember when they came to the Oakland Coliseum on the when they was called the Boys in the Hood at first. And they came up there. They had a concert. They had a tour up there. And I think they got into a shootout with some Oakland dudes. I don't know if there was Oakland dudes they was in a shootout with, but they crew and in Oakland at the Coliseum, they got into a shootout. But I remember NWA back when they was Boys in the Hood. Before they was NWA, they was Boys in the Hood. And once they came out, Ice-T was hard. 6 in the morning was hard. Me and Wacker would stand together when I used to listen to that every morning before I left out the house. 6 in the morning that was another one of those songs where he told you what happened from the morning to the evening. 6 in the morning was hard. You know what I'm saying? And Short, we was listening to Ice-T, Too Short, LL Cool J. That's right before, and then right transitioning to 86, 87, and then by the time 88 hit, when the golden era hit, is when just the reason why I call it was like the gold rush, because rappers start coming out. It was all kind of styles. It was all kind of unique styles. It just over here. You had NWA talking about what people don't really realize is NWA first album, Straight Outta Compton, is really just the same as It Takes a Nation of Million to Hold Us Back. Those out, except they talking from a revolutionist point and they talking from some street dudes point, but they both talking about the same thing. They both talking about police brutality. They both talking about drugs in the streets. They both talking about the same thing, just from a revolutionist point of view, because Chuck D was an older dude and had already been around and had been around on some revolution and stuff. And NWA was talking about the gang culture because that's what they grew up around. But those albums were basically the same thing. So when NWA was doing their thing, and then King T was doing his thing, Ice-T was doing his thing, Too Short was doing his thing, MC Pooh Man was doing his thing, Paris about a Frisco was doing their thing. All of the go, that's when everybody was popping up from everywhere. And then like right around 90, 91, somewhere like that, a lot of the homies from the hood started rap. Chunk, Prozac was busting, Sean and them, MOG and them, Totally Insane, RBO Posse, Black Dynasty. All this was up out the hood. Mac and AK, and if I forgot somebody, I apologize. I'm saying? I ain't got nothing written down. It's all off the dome. You know what I'm saying? But all of it, so for a minute, that's all I was listening to. But I still was listening to Brand Nubian. You know what I'm saying? I still was listening to De La Soul. So I kind of liked the De La Soul. Me and Coffee was the only ones listening to Nas back then, Illmatic. That because I remember back then the West Coast had it kind of on lock and dudes wasn't trying to hear it. And I was listening to Redman back then, Nas, but I still was listening to the stuff out here. But still, when I get to the house, when I was living in Frisco, I get to the house, I'd slap in Nas, you know what I'm saying? I throw in Brand Nubian, you know, because I still like, because they, you know, I liked it all, you know what I mean? And by the time, you know, 92, 93, 94 hit, the floodgates was open, and then everybody came, the shiny suit era came. And that's why, like a lot of times in business or in anything, timing has a lot to do with it. Let me say this. It's, for those that know, can remember, I was kicking it with this white dude named Wise back then. His name is L. Now we call him L1, but his name was Wise. I brought L to the Bay with me back in, had to be like 88, you know, but the world wasn't ready to accept a white boy as a rapper. This dude was nice. You can ask KD and Malcolm and all of them. He was busting, just nobody. So I'm saying that to say that during the time in the shiny suit era, because at one point in time, Puffy and them had it on Smash with the big samples, the Hype Williams videos, the shiny suits and all of that. It was either on the West Coast, you was shiny. On the West Coast, I mean, on the East Coast, you was shiny. On the West Coast, you was low riding, khaki suiting, and gang banging. That was just the mentality that people had. At a time when all of that was going on, the shiny suit era came along, was getting to the point where people were starting to get tired of it. Here come Darkman X. And Darkman X, first video you saw him was Get At Me, Dog. It was a black and white video in the tunnel. And if y'all ain't never been to the tunnel, see, I'm one of them dudes that have been to the tunnel a couple of times because my partner Daryl from the Bronx, you know, I used to go up to New York and we'd be moving and grooving. He knew one of the security guards up there, and so he just always, you know, he knew he loved hip hop. I loved hip hop, so I done been in the tunnel. I was in there one night when Onyx was there. I was in there one night when Big Pun was in there. I'm talking about rapping. Big Pun was in there. I've been in there. Was in the tunnel twice, 2-3 times. With a parking lot pimped a few times because it used to be so thick in the tunnel you couldn't even get in if you didn't have a plug or if you wasn't with this person or that person, you know. But I done been in. But DMX first video was in the tunnel. It don't get no more hip hop and grimier than the tunnel in the 90s. And DMX came right when everybody was tired of the shine, you know, because in hip hop, as in a lot of things, you get the average person, you get 3 years. You get 1 year to blow up, the next year to sustain, and then 1 year to fall off. The first year, everybody start not liking you for the same reason they liked you. They like you because of this, and then they can't get enough of it. And now they don't like you because of that, because they got too much of it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I respected P, because by the time P came along, P just broke the game. P came through and said, okay, I know what I'm going to do then. For this next 3 years, I'm going to put out so much music, it don't matter. And I remember one time you could get the Source magazine, and you'd have the Source magazine open, and the layout was, the magazine was folded out, but then the page folded out again, and all of them was Master P albums, probably 40, 50 albums. And P just flooded the market. You know what I'm saying? P broke Priority Records. There was no more Priority Records after Master P because he broke them. So back to what I was saying about the top MCs. Me, if I'd have to say who lyrically, just lyrically, bar for bar, that I think could write a dope song about anything, never mind the content, if he's rapping Jingle Bells or ABC, it's a good question, man, because a lot of quote unquote lyricists, you know, Big was a lyricist, Jay's a lyricist, Cube's a lyricist, Face is a lyricist, 40's a lyricist, Common's a lyricist, Drake 3000's a lyricist, Redman's a lyricist, the whole Wu is lyricist, Nas a lyricist, yeah. And then you got rappers. And then you got rappers. And the difference to me between a lyricist and a rapper is, a rapper is the epitome. A rapper is born out of a lyricist because a rapper has the whole persona. LL had the whole persona. I can rap good. I'm fly. The chicks like me. And your man and them kind of want to be like me. You understand what I'm saying? Like L was a rapper. Although L had lyrics, but L was a rapper. You feel what I'm saying? So that's a great debate, man. Top five. I'm just saying, I don't know if I could make a top five, but some of the names that would go in that pot far as artists that had contracts that everybody know about. Because once again, I know some underground guys that nobody never heard of that had more talent to me than all them dudes, or at least most of them. But far as career go, I think Jay's career was probably the most fulfilling when you're giving where he started to where he's at now. He got talent. Jay ain't never really been a corny rapper, you know. He got radio hits that was banging. For a minute, Jay was a movement. Jay got hard songs with the hardest dudes, Big X, with all the dudes, Pimp C, Bun B. See, I ain't even get into them dudes because it's just, Bun, Pimp, Ball, MJG, all them type of dudes, and so we could go on once the floodgates open. But Big, I can't put Big in the top five. I could put Pac in the top five more than I could Big because Pac got way more music. I can't put Rakim in the top five. I could put Rakim up there. Rakim helped change the game lyrically. KRS-One, ooh-wee. Chris got the body of work. Chris got the skills. Chris got the style. Chris had the content. Chris, to me, is kind of like an East Coast Scarface. They gonna give it to you what they gonna give to you. They not getting ready to try to do this because that ain't them. They not gonna try to do this because they not them. They gonna do what they do and they gonna do it well. You understand what I'm saying? Groups. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have another segment and we're gonna talk about duos. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about duos. But look, let me know what you think. Put the comments in. Who do you think? Who do you think is the GOAT? Who do you think the names that should go in the top 5 or the top 10 that I may have forgot? Somebody I might have slipped my mind, but right off the top of my head, Face, Cube, Short, 40, Jay, Nas, Big, Pac. Those are some of the names that's in the upper echelon. LL. Those are some of the names that's up in the upper echelon of artists who, I know I might sound a little biased to the guys of this era, but I don't really listen to that much hip hop now because it's a younger generation speaking to the younger generation. I'm the age I am. I really don't have no business relating because right now I'm not at the club popping. Now there is guys like J. Cole and there's dudes out there that still do that, and they should be saluted. J. Cole should be saluted. Kendrick should be saluted. A lot of dudes don't like Game. I like Game. I like Rick Ross. Rick Ross hard. Ooh, Rick Ross can get up in there. Rick Ross might can get up in there. Rick Ross get my big boy Maybach Music, baby. Rick Ross might can get up in there. My up and comer dudes. I'm a Benny the Butcher guy, man. Benny be talking that stuff that make the hair raise on my skin when he be talking about some of the stuff that he be talking about. You know what I'm saying? But like the Lil Baby, Dub Baby, a lot of these dudes, like I'm not discrediting them at all. I'm not discrediting them. I don't really listen to the radio. And so back then, the reason why we listened to those dudes so intently back then, because there was no social media, there was no mixtape. You had to wait a year for the new Run DMC album. You had to wait a year for the new Big Daddy Kane album. You know what I mean? And then when you put it in, or the new Cube album, that's what I'm telling you about America's Most. Me and Rod Decker used to ride and listen to that thing from start to finish, the whole thing, all the time, like day in and day out. This is what we did. And then we'd sprinkle some King T in, and then we'd sprinkle some this in, and we'd sprinkle some in. But then we going back to Cube, because that was Rod's guy. Cube was his guy, you know. And now it's a lot of social media. By the time I hear about somebody, he already got 5 million views on his YouTube videos. By the time somebody tell me, Dad, you heard my son, Dad, you heard such and such, who is that? By the time I go check him out, dang, he been out, but I ain't checking the waiver wire every day to see who's hot in it like I used to. I'm grown now. I got other things I'm doing. But if I had to, and as of right now, you can't take nobody that's been in the game 5 years. Drake running up there. Drake ain't got heavy rotation. He got heavy rotation. So, and Drake done been in a few battles. He want the smoke. He with all the smoke. And by my account, he ain't took too many L's. You know what I'm saying? By my account, I think he kind of took an L against Pusha to me, but he took a whole lot of L's. So Drake, but you got to remember, Drake probably been around 10, 15 years now. Drake ain't no new rapper, no new artist. So he's got a body of work that can be put up with them guys' body of work. So those are some of the guys that, like I said, man, shoot a message. Let me know, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Who's some of the guys that I might have forgot. But in my book, if you asking me, who's my uno? Brad Jordan, man. Recover, so get well soon, big dog. He just had his son just gave him an organ. He was doing bad. He was suffering. He had, the COVID thing kind of got him, messed up a couple of his organs. His son donated his organs. Shout out to his son for that. You know what I'm saying? So Brad's still around. You understand what I'm saying? Brad got some Stay Busy apparel. He told me he gonna bust some pics for me and said, but I got it to him right as he was getting ready to start transitioning and getting to his self situated with his son to get his transplant. And that's, man, get healthy, bro. Hopefully, I can't wait to hear some brand new cracking Brad Jordan, but that's me. That's my number one guy, so Brad Jordan is my number one guy. So when a lot of people was asking me, because they know, I've been around a long time, I've listened to hip hop, I've been invested, what I'm saying? So I feel like I can have a good opinion, unbiased opinion about some of these things. And Brad Jordan, man. But yeah, so top 5 is debatable. That's what's good about music. That's what's good about things where it's just an opinion-based thing, because there's no facts. You can say, yeah, Drake sold the most records. But yeah, back then, MC Hammer sold the most records. You telling me MC Hammer was a better rapper than LL Cool J? So we can't go off sales. We can't go off of, it gotta be a collection of everything, talent, impact, longevity, and I think Face check all those boxes for me. So, but it's your boy So Busy, Stay Busy Apparel, man. Just chopping it up with y'all, man. Holla back. Boss talk. That's what we're doing over here. We still out here in Medellin, Colombia, man. And if you like this boss talk you've been getting, hit that like button and that subscribe. Sponsored by Stay Busy Apparel.